run average. Not surprisingly, Eric Patterson was chosen to the team, as well as former first-rounders Louis Montañez and Ryan Harvey. The Cubs have a home run king among them. A first-round pick from the 2003 draft, Ryan Harvey blasted 8 shots to win the Midwest League Home Run Derby this week. Given 10 outs, his 8 long balls advanced him to the final round, where he defeated Emerson Frostad. His prizes, trophy, admiration, and $100. Harvey was no stranger to this format, as he was a finalist in the Northwest League's 2004 Home Run Derby while playing with the Cubs' Rookie League affiliate in Boise, Idaho. This week's guest, Kannapolis Intimidator, Joshua Hansen. Where's the best place you've visited playing baseball?
Oh, man. Well, Greensboro so far has been a great place that we've gone to play as far as fields, but throughout college and stuff, I've gone, pretty far, winning conference championships. But as far as professionally, being my first season and stuff, just getting used to the traveling and the whole 140 games. So
yeah. On the roster, you're listed as an outfielder/infielder/DH. Do you think it's good or bad to have so much versatility?
Well, you get, like you said, there's good and bad. The good is, you have a lot of, chances to play other positions, but at the same time, when you have guys who can only play one position, you get caught maybe DHing more often than not, because we only have a guy who can only play first versus a guy, in the outfield who can only play the outfield. And when you got guys who are hitting pretty well in those spots, you tend to be the guy left out and DHing. But as soon as something's going wrong, or they need to fill a spot and they want to put you, at first for a game or two, or back in the outfield or behind the plate, then you get to fill those roles. But a lot of the coaches seem to give me a lot of good feedback as far as it's a positive thing, because it makes it easier for me to move up, hopefully, in the organization, being able to play more than just one position. But that's the positive side. But then the bad side to it is that you don't get comfortable with just playing one single position. You kind of always have to be practicing and showing up for early work for 3 different positions as easy as showing up for one.
You guys had a rain out on Sunday and All-Star break on Monday, 2 days off in a row. Did you even know what to do with yourself?
No, I didn't. After the rain out and we came back, got to hang out a little bit and catch my breath, and then having the next day off was just kind of very different. You walk around the malls, or you go places, but you kind of feel like you're wasting time that you should be somewhere.
Yeah. You attended Mater Dei High School in Santa Ana, is that true?
Yes.
Okay, is that the same one that was ranked 6th in Sports Illustrated this year, the top 25 high school athletic programs?
Yes, it probably is.
Okay, so they have had 2 Heisman Trophy winners there, Matt Leinart, one of them. Did you play for the 2-time National Coach of the Year, Rollison, and his football team?
Actually played with Leinart, but not in football. He played baseball while he was at Mater Dei with me.
Okay.
But I did not play football. And
what would you say your weaknesses are right now?
Oh, that's a good question. Right now, I think coming into the draft that we just had, and coming up to the All-Star break, and starting the rookie teams in Bristol and Great Falls, I think losing players and gaining players is going to be maybe a little bit of a weakness. We've lost Gio for a start. I heard he might be coming back, and he's hurt. We might be losing a few players that might be going down. We might be gaining some guys that we don't know who they are, and try to get them into the mix of our team and what we're trying to do. But as far as on the field, I don't think we have any weaknesses. As of this moment, I think it would be more or less the fact that our team's going to be kind of fluctuating with players.
That was Joshua Hansen, infielder, outfielder, designated hitter, all of the above for the Kannapolis Intimidators. We'll get back to the interview in a moment, but let's first take a look at the White Sox and their transactions down in the minor league system. The big move this week with the White Sox, El Duque is back on the DL for the 2nd time this season. The right-handed starter was placed on the 15-day disabled list, retroactive to June 15th, with his strained trapezius muscle. As was the case last time he got hurt, rookie phenom Brandon McCarthy has been called up to cover Hernandez's spot in the rotation. In 2 starts earlier in the year, McCarthy held the Chicago Cubs in check over 6 innings, and he also suffered a beating en route to his 0-1 big league record. With his 2 call-ups to the bigs, Brandon has effectively missed 3 would-be starts for the Charlotte Knights, and in spite of this, he is still within 5 of the league leaders in punch-outs. The record was not knock your socks off good at 3-7, but the Aces' 4-to-1 strikeout-to-walk ratio sure was. 3 new uniforms were laid out in the Charlotte locker room this week. 25-year-old reliever Jeffrey Little made a sizable 2-level jump all the way up from Winston-Salem. Replacing McCarthy in the rotation will undoubtedly be Nick Ludicic. Posting an impressive 7-4 mark earned him the promotion. Rounding out the eager-to-impress trio will be the speedy Guillermo Reyes. AA Birmingham, no dominant statistical leaders dot the Barons squad, but closer Bobby Jenks is tied for the league lead with 16 saves. Though Pedro Lopez's palindromic 202 batting average would be good enough for Mendoza, it got him demoted from AAA. With more momentum than Lopez, starter Charles Hager moves up into the AA clubhouse as well. High A, Winston-Salem leaders, while the rookie-level teams stocked themselves with recent draftees and undrafted free agents. A-level baseball leagues had their short but dramatic all-star games this week. No team in the Carolina League managed to land more players on the all-star team than did the White Sox High A affiliate Winston-Salem Warthogs. Recipients of the honor this year were second baseman Rudy Yan, highly touted outfielder Jeremy Reed, and 3 pitchers. Ryan Wing, Ryan Moe, and Chris Honnell all played in the midseason classic. The featured star for the Warthogs this week is last week's guest, Aaron Wasserman, the second closer in the White Sox system to lead his league in saves thus far. Wasserman has 15. Low A Kannapolis Intimidators. 3 shined brightest for the Intimidators in the first half. Named to the All-Star team were Gio Gonzalez, David Cook, and Southpaw starter Raymond Leota. Gio has since been called up to AA. Lots of names, but the most important thing to remember, McCarthy back up with the parent club this week. It's now time to get back to Joshua Hansen and the remainder of this week's interview on Down on the Farm. How many pitches would you guess on average you see per at bat?
Whew. I would say 3.
So the first pitch isn't necessarily that tempting to you?
To me it is. I'm an aggressive hitter. I don't often get into a full count, but during this season, when I was putting up some pretty good power numbers early on in the season and started to get pitched around a little bit, and being an aggressive hitter, I had to start to learn how to, see the ball, let the pitcher make his pitch to me and not be too aggressive early in the count because, they want to maybe stay a little bit away from you and, be aggressive when I can when there's guys on base. But for the most part, I would say that the average pitch at the beginning of the year was probably 1 or 2 pitches, but now it's
wow.
more like 3 or 4.
Okay. Scott, one of the hosts of the main event that I mentioned earlier, is a huge Dale Earnhardt fan, and Kannapolis was the hometown of Dale Earnhardt. Senior was a part of the ownership group that bought your team, named your team and such. Is there any influence around the team or the city from the late superstar?
Well, he's everywhere. I mean, the Dale Earnhardt stuff's just, you can't get away from it, so there's no doubt about that. And a lot of people, even coming here, even the teammates, knowing that they're Intimidators, Kannapolis Intimidators, didn't even know why they were named the Intimidators.
Right.
So, but yeah, it's everywhere. There's definitely an influence of the NASCAR fans here.
Yeah, okay. And learning to hit the other way seems to be a big step in many players' development, like learning to play piano with both hands simultaneously. It makes more things possible. Have you made the transition, would you say, to using all fields?
Yes. I mean, especially when you got, once I got drafted and coming out of college, I was definitely more of a right center hitter, you could say, and I was mostly away. And then when I got here, they kind of took my swing and molded it to be more of a pull hitter, as well as being able to keep hitting the ball away, because playing pro ball, that's one of the major things they teach is being able to drive the ball to both sides of the field. And this year I kind of got away from my strength, and I've been pulling the ball a lot, and just the past month or so I've been really, keying in on working the ball to the right side of the field again, and it's been a struggle, but it's definitely a work in progress, and I think that's the case for a lot of guys on our team.
Did you have any idols growing up?
Oh, yeah. Growing up, being a baseball card collector, I loved, Frank Thomas and Ken Griffey Jr., the guys you saw in, the home run derbies, and Mark McGwire. So,
is there any major league player that you think your game resembles the most?
Good question. Being such a, being a DH, first base, catcher, outfielder, it's hard to find too many guys. But, just in the past few years, when you see someone like Paul LaDuca, who spent a lot of time in the minors and finally making it, and as a catcher, I could see my route kind of going that way. I'm not saying it's going to take me 8 years to get to the major league level, but I wasn't a high draft guy. Didn't get drafted out of high school. I was a senior out of college when I got drafted, But hopefully just by working my way up, whether it takes me 3 or 4 years or it takes me 8 years, eventually I'll get there.
What stars of other sports do you, as an athlete yourself, admire most?
Growing up, I worked out a lot. I looked up to a lot of what Jerry Rice did as an athlete playing football. Mm-hmm. Hearing from a lot of strength coaches and conditioning people, his work ethic, and you hear about his work ethic in almost every sport. And to emulate someone like that and to follow in someone's footsteps like that, I thought was something very inspiring for someone like me, because I worked hard on the field, but as well as off the field. I like to be the guy who kind of worked real hard off the field and not be seen. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the guys I always kept in the back of my mind.
All right. Well, good luck in the future.
All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much. That was Joshua Hansen of the Kannapolis Intimidators. Let's take a look at your Central Division leading St. Louis Cardinals. By now, you know Scott Rowland was activated from the 15-day disabled list last Saturday. The Cardinals optioned outfielder Skip Shoemaker to AAA Memphis the next day. While he was up with the parent club, Shoemaker played in 3 games, 0 for 5. For Memphis, the AAA affiliate, Adam Wainwright has a mediocre 5-5 mark, but fans have to enjoy his throwback style, nearly 7 innings pitched per start. It's old news by now, but perhaps it slipped under the radar. Memphis pitcher Anthony Reyes has been named the St. Louis organization's Pitcher of the Month for May. During the month, Reyes tossed 2 complete games and went 3-1 in his 6 starts with a .06 ERA. He fanned 32 batters and walked only 9 in 39 innings pitched. His best performance of the month was a 1-hit shutout at Portland on May 19th. The same date Shoemaker descended from the parent club, Pete Facalillo was optioned to AA Springfield. Randy Leake of the Springfield Cardinals leads his team with 7 wins and has the lone shutout for the squad this year. Chris Lambert of the AA unit will represent the St. Louis Cardinals in the All-Star Futures game. The 22-year-old pitcher was selected to the Florida State League All-Star team as well, but was disallowed to compete as he was promoted beforehand. High Palm Beach, not once in 32 innings has Eric Haberer let a baseball get out of his yard. 5 starts, 1.41 ERA. Meanwhile, in Low A for the swing of the Quad Cities team, former 3rd-round pick Dennis Dove is starting to show some promise. The organization seems to be taking the tactic of just let him throw. He has a shutout and has started 14 contests thus far. The Cardinals have wasted no time signing their recent draftees. At last count, 47% of them are on the books. Most of these players start their careers with the New Jersey Cardinals or the Johnson City outfit. That's your look at the Redbirds. Come back next week to hear what your team's growing down on the farm.
Some drivers think comfort is found in leather. American Motorist, Comfort is known they have a State Farm agent who's always there, providing personal service at a competitive rate. So talk to State Farm agent Darren Powell in Mount Pulaski. He'll help you make sure you get the coverage you need and the discounts you deserve. After all, any insurance company can promise you a good price, but nobody takes care of you like a State Farm agent. Call Darren at 877-792-3371 and he'll prove it.
The cost of going to see a Cubs game, about $250 for a pair of dugout box seats. The cost of a handsome blue Cubs hat at the game, about $25. The cost of nachos and a slice of pizza at the game, about $10. The cost of hearing the same game from your home or car on ESPN Radio 95.9 FM for free, and forgetting about that clown in the stands who ruined your 2003 Cubs season, priceless. Sports fans, get in the game only on ESPN Radio 95.9 FM, Central Illinois' home for Chicago Cubs baseball all season long.
The 1999 party continues with Dish Network and P&M Communications in Lincoln and Decatur. When you subscribe to Dish Network service, you can now receive the AT60 programming package for just $19.99 for the first 3 months. But it gets even better. You will also receive HBO and Showtime, 18 movie channels free for 3 months with this offer. It's madness. Dish madness. And there's no equipment to buy. Plus free standard professional installation. Pay a $49.99 activation fee and receive a $49.99 credit on your first programming bill. You just can't beat this offer. $19.99 for the Dish AT60 package and HBO and Showtime for 3 months. And remember, you can upgrade to a DVR system for free. So join in the madness with Dish Network and P&M Communications at 616 North Chicago Street in Lincoln and in Decatur at 2235 Westbound Road. Offer ends July 31st, 2005. All prices, packages, and programming subject.
We're talking baseball. Carew and Gaylord Perry, Seaver, Garvey, Schmidt, and Vida Blue. If Cooperstown is calling, it's no fluke. they'll be with Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Say hey, say hey, say
Now, ESPN 95.9 and the main event are proud to bring you our weekly minor league baseball report, Down on the Farm, with our minor league baseball expert, Andrew Force. Down on the Farm is sponsored exclusively by State Farm agent Darren Powell and Mount Pulaski. Call Darren today at 877-792-3371 for all your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Now, let's go down on the farm.
Welcome back to Down on the Farm. This week's guest, Ryan Theriot, an infielder for the West Tennessee Diamondbacks, affiliate for the Chicago Cubs. First, let's take a look at the St. Louis Cardinals farm system and any transactions therein. Towards the tail end of last week, St. Louis shifted around its DL. Outfielder Roger Cedeno was activated from the 15-day DL and then designated for assignment. Bullpen lefty Randy Flores has been placed on the 15-day disabled list. Filling his spot on the St. Louis squad is southpaw Carmen Cali from AAA Memphis. In Memphis, typically acknowledgments go out to the best player of the week, but one game earned John Rodriguez mention this week. The team scored 7 runs to win 7-5. With a grand slam and a measly 2-run blast, Rodriguez drove in 6. The only run he did not bring home was his own. He scored in the 4th inning. 7 runs, all somehow thanks to Rodriguez. Well played, young man. AA Springfield, Tyler Mingus is just 4 RBI away from owning a team-wide triple crown. His 23 doubles aren't too shabby either. Last Saturday, the St. Louis Cardinals called outfielder Hector Luna back up from AAA Memphis. Luna played 83 games for St. Louis a year ago. He's number 7 in the scorebook, number 1 in your heart. Hiya, Palm Beach. Illinois native Andy Schutzenhofer lost his spot at AA. Returning to the familiar Palm Beach, his 2004 home, Schutzenhofer has 6 hits in his first 11 at-bats. Low A Quad Cities, Rick Ankiel update. After belting a grand slam with 6 RBI in the final game of the first half of the season, the lefty out of Fort Pierce, Florida, picked up right where he left off after the break. Leading the swing to a 4-game sweep at Wisconsin, Ankiel hit an even .500, 7 of 14, with 2 home runs and 5 RBI. He also crossed the plate 8 times, slugged .071, and had a .650 on-base percentage in the series, all of which were best in the Midwest League this past week. Since joining the swing on May 23rd, the Cardinals' 1997 second-round pick has hit .298 while launching 9 home runs and driving in 25 through 26 games. Is the player allowed to be runner-up for Rookie of the Year 2 different years for different positions in the major leagues? It's now time for this week's guest, Ryan Theriot of the West Tennessee Diamondbacks. So when you played with the Lansing Lugnuts and you visited South Bend, I broadcast some of the games you played. That was about 3 years ago now.
Okay.
The thing that interested me most about your game was how much speed influenced the games that you played, and how do you think you use that asset effectively?
Well, first off, like you said, you have to use it, and that would be keeping the ball out of the air, not hitting easy pop-ups where you're an easy out offensively, making sure you put the ball on the ground, put it in play consistently, and use that asset. Defensively, it can be a killer for other teams, because good positioning plus speed and quickness can take away a lot of hits. So, I try to focus on those things offensively and defensively.
The never-shy Ricky Henderson was asked many questions over time about his power as a leadoff man, and he mentioned that money isn't in the stolen base. You get paid for the home runs, so that's why it kind of bulked up a little bit. That bothered me a little bit because I like the steals, bunts, extra base hits, and such. I think it makes baseball fun. Mm-hmm. Do you think that team speed is on the verge of extinction in baseball?
It wins games, and, you can't teach speed. Speed's something that you either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
I would like to say no. I hope it's not. I know that the team that we're on right now in West Tennessee is extremely fast. One of the best teams I've played on when I was at LSU. Our team was extremely fast also. We won a College World Series. I don't think that's coincidence. Maybe the stolen base is kind of fading a little bit, but going from first to third on a base hit will never be looked down upon. Scoring from first on a double wins games, and getting runners in scoring position wins games, and stolen bases do that. I think it's team speed may be overlooked a bit now because of the home runs and things that people are putting up, but I think bottom line is team speed's always going to win games. Speed always kills, and that's a phrase I've heard my whole life. Speed killing, it really does. It breaks the backs of opposing teams if you have a fast club.
What do you watch for when you were going to steal a base, pitchers' movements and such?
You know, I kind of focus on the pitcher's torso, in the middle of his body, on most guys, or right-handers. Sometimes I'll look down at the ankle, you know, the foot. They say to watch when they break their knees. Maybe they have to go home if they break their back knee. I just kind of look for something out of the ordinary. I pay a lot of attention to what he does when other people are on base, the pitcher. With righties, you know, left-handed pitchers normally tip things off, whether it be with their head or, you know, with their front leg that they pick up. You know, if you do your homework and pay attention when other people are on base, it's pretty easy normally to get a good read on certain pitchers.
How did guys used to steal home plate? That blows my mind. Have you ever tried that?
Yeah, you know, not since I've been in pro ball, I haven't. You know, normally when a pitcher's out of the windup, it's pretty easy to do. If he doesn't throw, you know, a pitch that would allow the catcher to tag you fairly easily.
Yeah.
If a pitcher is out of the windup, you can get a good walking lead at third base, and a lot of times you can take that bag. You know, there's been a couple times where I've been able to do it this year, and just the situation in the game didn't really allow us to do it. But it's definitely an exciting play, something I love to do. But you know, at the same note, it's pretty dangerous if something goes wrong.
Yeah, no kidding. Back to Ryan Theriot in a matter of moments, but first, let's take a look at the Chicago Cubs, any transactions, and their minor league stars this week. Bypassing the typical rehab start, Mark Pryor took little time, reminding fans of his value. Pryor lifted the Cubs further from the 500 mark with an economical 71-pitch, 6-inning outing on Sunday. Oh, and it was the Windy City Classic against the winningest pitcher in baseball, John Garland. To make room for the USC graduate, Chicago optioned lefty Rich Hill to Iowa of the PCL. MinorLeagueBaseball.com bestowed the honor of Pacific Coast League Offensive MVP on Scott McLean. He's a non-traditional minor leaguer in the sense that McLean is not a young buck with potential dripping from his ears. A three-time PCL All-Star with 3 different teams, the corner infielder turned 33 last month. His 15 ribbies certainly helped spurn a 6-game winning streak for the Iowa Cubs. The Chicago Cubs optioned right-handed pitcher Todd Wellemeyer to Iowa, recalled right-handed pitcher Roberto Novoa from Iowa as well. AA West Tennessee leaders. The Diamond Jacks have stolen 104 bases, second best in the Southern League. 6 players have swiped more than 10 bases. Today's guest, Ryan Theriot, leads the way with 17. Tuesday, the Chicago Cubs recalled infielder Ronnie Cedeno from Iowa, AAA affiliate, and outrighted infielder Enrique Wilson to Iowa. They just couldn't keep him down any longer as Cedeno was destroying the PCL to the clip of 371. High-A Daytona pitcher Randy Wells moved down from AA to Single-A last Friday. The same day, Billy Petrick hit the DL. As far as batting hero this week, Chris Walker has climbed from 284 to 301 with a 10-for-17 tear. Low-A Peoria, Ryan Harvey is 6th in the Midwest League RBI race. Despite playing in just 80% of the team's games, his 44 runs batted in leads the Chiefs. The question has been answered: when Carey gets back, whom do you demote? Tuesday, Chicago decided to designate former closer Joe Borowski for assignment to make room for Kerry Wood. Now back to Ryan Theriot of the West Tennessee Diamond Jacks. Do you think everyone should learn to bunt, or are there certain players out there that are, quote, too powerful for that?
You know, bunting's important. Bunting's extremely important for a lot of players, some more than others. You know, your power guys obviously aren't going to be asked to bunt as much as others will, but I would say that, you know, it would never be a bad tool to learn. Not as easy as it looks a lot of times because guys' emotions get going and they're expected to do something that's fairly easy, and then you lose concentration. You know, with the power guys, though, you know, they should be able to a certain extent, but, you know, as far as bunting for base hits, it's really, honestly, I don't think it will ever be asked, you know, for a big home run hitter to do.
Right. What is the best logo you've seen in minor league baseball?
Oh, Lansing Lugnuts, no doubt.
Is that right?
Lugnuts are great, man, yeah. And then, you know, ours at West Tennessee over here is pretty good. Let's see. They had a couple other ones. I was just looking at the other day, matter of fact. They've had some good ones. I've come across some real good ones. Lansing's definitely my favorite. You know, they say it's always at the tops as far as sales goes for the minor league merchandise. What a cool mascot.
Is there a difference between night and day games to you?
Yeah. Day games, it's hot.
Yeah.
The night games, normally the first few innings, it's a little bit harder to see the ball than it is once it gets dark. Day games, it stays the same pretty much the whole time. But as far as a hitter goes, you have to battle that sun in day games on defense. And hitting the twilight's always kind of tough to see the ball from the pitcher on a night game.
Being a leadoff man many times in your career, I'm sure you understand the do anything to get on base mentality.
Right.
That said, do you think elbow guards are fair for batters?
Yeah, certain guys have injuries that kind of make them wear those things, and it's a preventative measure, so they won't get hit. I think pitchers should wear them if their front elbow is their throwing arm. I think that's an important spot, for them to have them. I don't know. A lot of times those elbow guards, some guys maybe use them to get a little advantage, but for the most part, I think they're needed in baseball, for a lot of people.
Is there a big gripe you have about minor league baseball in general?
About minor league baseball?
Yeah.
No, it's what it is. It's a feeder for the big leagues, and it allows for a lot of people to work, and allows for a lot of people to continue their dreams, and for me, that's always good. If anybody can live out a dream, and whether it be minor leagues or major leagues, I think that's a positive. And you meet a bunch of different people, make a lot of friends that you wouldn't normally know, and it's a great thing.
Who is the best all-around athlete in your stacked West Tennessee lineup?
Best all-around athlete in West Tennessee's lineup? Well, there's a couple. I know Felix P.A. could probably play a lot of other sports. We probably have 4 or 5 guys that would be solid in other sports, probably college-level players. I know Buck Coates could play other sports. He'd be a great wide receiver. I know Brandon Sting's great on the basketball court. Obviously, I'm going to have to throw myself in there just because I'm a little biased.
Yeah.
We have a very athletic team, guys that can play a lot of different positions. I don't know if you noticed in our lineup, we've had guys all over the place, and they've all been successful. So we got some good athletes. I'd have to put Felix up there at the top. Buck's pretty athletic in his own right too.
What ages are baseball players in their prime, would you say?
I would have to say 21 to 25, 26. Mentally, they normally can develop once they get to those ages. Physically, a lot of guys are ready, but this game's 90% mental. So I think once they get enough at-bats under their belt and played in enough games, that's a good age, depending on where they've been, that I would say they'd be developed.
Is there any difference between travel accommodations between single A and double A?
It's pretty similar, as far as travel goes with the bus, and the hotels are pretty similar also. They're all pretty much the same, and it's it's good for what we do, and at every level that I've been, it's all been, I don't have any complaints, and the Cubs have done a real good job taking care of us.
What do you think about in the on-deck circle?
On-deck circle, I try to time the pitcher. I try to see what pitches he's throwing. Is he throwing them for strikes? Another thing I try to key on is, how long it takes him to get to the plate, if he has a quick delivery or a slow delivery. And just see how he pitches the guy in front of me, and maybe get a little idea of what he's going to do to me whenever I get up.
All right, thanks a lot, and hope you guys have a good rest of the season.
Okay, buddy, thank you.
Ryan Terrio of the West Tennessee Diamond Jacks. That's once again the AA affiliate of the Chicago Cubs. From the north side to the south side, let's take a look at the Chicago White Sox leaders in their minor league system this week. AAA Charlotte, former Knight Kurt Schilling, returned yesterday for a rehab start with the Pawtucket Red Sox. Perusers of the International League Leaders Board know the name well. Brian Anderson is 7th in runs, 10th in doubles, 12th in total bases, and 12th in hits. AA Birmingham. Someone buy Chris Young dinner. The dude started the second half with 5 home runs in 6 games, swatting 11 hits and 25 at-bats. Though the honor was decided upon before his recent surge, Young heard news of his Futures Game invitation this week as well. The Winston-Salem Warthogs, now in first place, have a likely Triple Crown winner on their team. Leo Daigle has 24 long balls, 5 up on his follower. His 85 RBI leads teammate and former Down on Farm guest Tom Calero by 22. Up 16 points in the batting average column, Daigle could very well become the second player in the Carolina League's 60-year history to acquire the Triple Crown. Low A, Kannapolis, left fielder David Cook currently has a .422 on-base percentage with 51 walks, propping up that number. Come back next week to hear what your team's growing down on the farm.
Hey, come into County Market and check out our savings explosion. They're mind-blowing. Like a
Allen. It's a bright, sunny afternoon, and what a beautiful day for a ball game.
I'm talking baseball, like Reggie Quisenberry, talking baseball. Carew and Gaylord Perry, Seaver, Garvey, Schmidt, and Vida Blue. If Cooperstown is calling, it's no fluke. They'll be with Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Say hey, say hey, say
Now, ESPN 95.9 and the main event are proud to bring you our weekly minor league baseball report, Down on the Farm, with our minor league baseball expert, Andrew Force. Down on the Farm is sponsored exclusively by State Farm agent Darren Powell and Mount Pulaski. Call Darren today at 877-792-3371 for all your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Now, let's go down on the farm.
Welcome back to Down on the Farm. This week's guest is Mark Michael, a 22-year-old pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's currently pitching in Palm Beach, the High A affiliate. A little bit of a change-up this week, as usually. I talked to you a little bit about the transactions within. We'll still do that, but there will not be any star players from each organization. This week, I'll talk to you about the last 6 years, 2000 and beyond, the first draft pick taken by your team, Chicago Cubs, St. Louis Cardinals, and Chicago White Sox, and see where they are now and how they're progressing in their careers. First up, the Chicago Cubs. The Chicago Cubs were quite active on July 4th this year. Last week, Enrique Wilson fell down to AAA. This week, the Iowa Cubs on July 4th placed him on the inactive list. Michael Lewis takes his spot as a middle infielder following his call-up from AA West 10. Pitcher Brad Stiles was released by the organization on July 4th, that being from AAA Iowa. The Boise Hawks rookie-level team assigned infielder Kyle Reynolds to their squad. Also on July 4th, infielder Aaron Sisk was promoted to AA West 10 of the Southern League, as Victor Ramos was added from Boise to Peoria Chiefs. Luis Montañez, the third overall pick in 2000, has experienced varied success throughout his lengthy career, as evidenced by his .267 career batting average. Right now, he is playing for Peoria, the low A squad, and having a fine year. 307, 11 bombs, 47 ribbies. Taken second overall in 2001, Mark Pryor should have been the first pick, but the Minnesota Twins had no intentions of paying him a huge bonus. Pryor has since won 35 regular season games and 2 postseason games for the Chicago Cubs. A former guest of this very show, Bobby Brownlee, is redefining his style. Drafted as a fireballer, Brownlee is now working on changing speeds and location. He is 3-4 with a 5.18 earned run average for AAA Iowa. The Cubs' first-round pick in 2003 was Ryan Harvey. Playing with the Peoria Chiefs, outfielder Ryan Harvey is doing just fine. Identical power numbers to Montañez on the same team, Harvey has a tremendous frame at 6'5", 225. Taken in 2004's second round, Grant Johnson plays for Peoria as well. It took a while before this transpired, however. He held out and did not sign until August of last year. Then he suffered a hamstring injury in spring training this year. At 6'6", he is the 4th tallest hurler on the gigantic staff. In his 5 starts, Johnson is 1-2 with a 5.25 ERA. That'll do it for the Chicago Cubs. Let's now take a listen to Mark Michael, this week's guest on Down on the Farm. Okay, I'm talking with Mark Michael of the Palm Beach Cardinals. Mark, what pitches do you throw?
Feature a fastball, curveball, and a changeup.
What would you say are the strengths of your game and aspects you need to work on?
Well, right now, I say my strength is I've always had a sinking, tailing fastball, and that seems to work pretty well. The only problem is with the sinking fastball. You got to keep it on to the plate, and keep it low in the zone so they can't get under it and either cause the ball to go out of the yard or into the gap. I think if you're able to pitch inside and establish the inside part of the plate, and you can pitch anywhere on the plate, because the hitters don't really like the ball inside too much, and with a guy with a sinking fastball and pretty hard, it's pretty tough to hit.
The baseball draft is nowhere near as publicized as the NBA or NFL drafts. Could you describe how you found out where you were going to be playing?
When I was, I guess it was in 03 when I was drafted. I was actually just, home with my mom, and she told me that the Cardinals I've been getting phone calls. I was getting phone calls all day. We're going to take you here, take you there, blah, 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 blah. Would you sign for this? Would you sign for that? And my mom then finally told me, I was outside, cutting the grass. My mom told me I was drafted in the 4th round by the Cardinals. And
you were cutting the grass when you got drafted?
Yeah, I was cutting it. It was funny. My dad was working, I just needed something to, relieve my mind because it was kind of a hectic day.
Right.
And, so I was outside cutting the grass, and next thing you know, my mom was yelling. They drafted me in the 4th round. And the scout, Tommy Shields, he called me and told me they drafted me. And he pretty much told me I was heading to New Jersey. So.
Now, Tommy Shields was your manager in New Jersey, right?
Yeah, he was actually. Now, I don't think he's the manager now. I think Mark DeJohn, I think, is the manager there. So I think they're just making Tommy just concentrate on scouting, so which is pretty good.
Did you feel energized, ready to get to work, or relieved to be getting the chance for something you worked so hard for?
Yeah, that's what everyone works for, and just to get the opportunity to play at a higher level and get paid for, is just something you've always dreamed about. You obviously, I'm not the type of guy that likes 9-to-5 jobs. I never really had one, so I don't know what it would be like. So I'm always been playing baseball, so it'd be kind of weird if I wasn't playing it. So it feels good, that you can actually pursue a career out of it.
Okay, you have the ideal pitching frame, 6'4", 215, somewhere in there, but you have had shoulder troubles in the past. What would you say has been the problem?
Just mechanics. Believe it or not, like the way you pitch, it has a lot of bearing on your arm. Obviously, the pitching motion is not the best thing for an arm. It's very violent,
right.
But I've been running into some mechanical problems, and I'm just trying to get those things consistent where I can feel I have a grasp on it, and it feels pain-free, and know it feels effortless when I'm throwing. So that's just, I think I have that now. It's being hurt, and you start to realize what you need to do to stay healthy. So once I get back off the DL, I'll be able to get those mechanics down and continue hopefully.
You went through an off season of rehab. Would you say that the problem you have now is related to that, or is it something new?
It's something new. It had nothing to do with what I had in the off season. The pain I had last year was sharp pain in the back of my shoulder in the labrum area. And it was real deep. This one just right in the front, the bicep tendon and the rotator cuff. So, I rehabbed it all off season, and, I came back strong, felt great in spring training. Started off, feeling good, and I just ran into I don't want to blame it on something, but I was pitching in Port Charlotte, and the mound was kind of iffy, it wasn't the best of mound. I was sort of pitching uphill. What that means is when I was throwing, my front foot was landing, and my back foot was beneath the level of my front foot, and I was kind of fighting myself to get the ball on top, and I came out of my mechanics, and that I think tweaked something up in the shoulder. So,
right back to this week's guest, Mark Michael, in a moment. But first, the transactions within the Cardinals system and the first-round draft picks from the last 6 years. Anthony Reyes, prized prospect, was activated from the DL on Sunday. He originally went to the shelf because of shoulder tendonitis in his throwing arm. Sean Boyd, drafted in 2000. Was batting .272 when AA Springfield. At times, Boyd has shown the ability to steal bases. For example, Sean swindled 32 in 2002. Most believe Boyd has topped out, though, with little progress anticipated beyond this, his 3rd season in AA. In 2001, the Cardinals selected Justin Pope with their first-round pick. Late in 2003, Pope and teammate Ben Julianell were packaged for Sterling Hitchcock. Pope is now a member of the New York Yankees AA affiliate, Trenton Thunder. 25 years old, the switch-hitting pitcher is a converted closer with 17 saves and a sub-3 ERA. Calvin Hayes was the highest pick taken by St. Louis in 2002. He was a 3rd-round selection, however. Until recently, his movement had all been positive. Currently in low A, Hayes is a speedy middle infielder. 2003, the Cardinals picked a shiny apple, Derek Barton, a high school phenom, who was traded to Oakland along with Dan Herron and Kiko Calero for Mark Mulder. A member of the prestigious Futures All-Star game, Barton just moved up to AA with the Athletics. In his first 2 games, he slugged a home run and drove in 3. Now 22 years old, Chris Lambert was picked by the Cardinals organization in 2004. He is a member of the AA Springfield rotation, featuring a 2.58 earned run average. In 9 starts, he has only 2 decisions, a 1-1 record. Just drafted last month, outfielder Colby Rasmus is playing with rookie-level Johnson City. That's a look at your first-round draft picks for the St. Louis Cardinals. Now back to right-handed hurler Mark Michael of the Palm Beach Cardinals. How has the Cardinals minor league system helped you develop as a player?
They give you the opportunity to, they're always on you, or always trying to help you get better, and they're willing to work with you. I mean, when we get to the ballpark I've been here for a half hour now, and we don't have to be here till 3:30. And you come early, they'll help you. And just if you need help, they'll help you.
Describe the ideal fan to you.
Ideal fan?
Yeah.
Well, the ideal fan, comes to the ballpark, and eats about 2 or 3 hot dogs, and is into every pitch, and having fun. It's all the same thing, getting their autographs, or I think it's great. When I come to the ballpark and I see there's fan mail in my locker, I feel good that someone's actually a fan of mine. It's pretty amazing feeling, that someone cares enough to take a card and throw it in an envelope and pay 37 cents or whatever it costs to send it to a ballpark, hoping that the athlete will sign it and send it back. So I mean that means a lot. It goes a long way as a player, and it feels good. That you come there, they can wave to you, and you have no problem waving back to you.
Speaking of fans, would you say there's something that fans don't know about the everyday life of a baseball player that they should know?
Yes, a lot of fans, don't know what goes on behind the scenes. They just see, the glamorous field, and the nice uniforms, and a lot of fans probably think players are stuck up because they don't talk to them. There's a lot of rules that the players have to abide by. Fans don't know that, and they get real short. The day in and day out grind that they have to go through, and that we have to go through as a team, it's pretty tough. I mean, you play 140 games every day. And down here in Florida, it's 95 degrees right now with 100% humidity.
Jeez.
You have to be able to lock it in for 140 games and come to the ballpark willing to work every day. And that's it gets real repetitive. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people don't like going to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same thing as that. And it's a tough grind. And it's a tough profession because it could be 2 years to make it to the big leagues and make the big bucks, or it could be 10 years. And, the minor league salary is, I'm not complaining about the money. It's not the greatest. You get by. It's just a grind. It's a lot of, you have to have a lot in you to, sacrifice so much. I sacrifice my summer. I sacrifice my family. I haven't seen I see my family about 3 weeks ago. I went home for the All-Star break, but I probably won't see them anymore till September when I go home. That means a lot. That means a lot to me. There's a lot of sacrifices. A lot of people are down vacationing with their families, and I don't get that. You know what I mean? So all my friends are home from college in the summer, and I'm on the road. You know what I mean? So I don't really get a chance to see my friends. It's a lot of sacrifices that people just should know. And but it's fun though. It's a very challenging, and if you like to challenge yourself, it's a very good profession to be in.
Not until Double-A do pitchers hit for themselves. So if I remember right, you swung a pretty mighty bat in high school and early college. Any chance you might get some pinch hitting appearances for Palm Beach this year?
Probably not, because I've been on the DL, and I know they've always. We were running low at one point, and they told me, I'd be first off the list if I was healthy. So but we got guys now filling in, so I don't think there'll ever be a case where I'll pinch hit in Palm Beach. So it'd be nice if I could, just to maybe we'll see if I could show up some of the hitters. But I haven't realized how tough it is. I wouldn't want to face me. I wouldn't want to face half our pitchers on our staff, to be honest with you. Hitting is probably it's the toughest thing to do in a sport.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I want to hit, but then there's something inside me that say I can't hit that stuff. I haven't hit in 2 or 3 years. That's why I'm pitching again.
Yeah. What are some highlights of your career to date?
The highlights of my career to date. My first win, which was back in 2003, I was throwing against Lowell. I struck out 10. That was a pretty good feeling, and that was, obviously your first professional start or first professional appearance. My parents were there, and that made it real. That made it even more special. My parents drove 7 hours to watch me throw 1 inning out of the bullpen because we got a lot of rain delays my first year. So. Just for them to see that made it feel special to them, and see their son succeed, which is always a good thing, good feeling for me. Last year, being able to pitch, and I threw a complete game, which is pretty cool. And so I mean, it's just being out here is a highlight of my career.
All right, thanks a lot, and I look forward to getting back out there on the field and showing what you can do the remainder of the season and throughout your career.
All right, appreciate it very much.
Many thanks to Mark Michael, the right-handed pitcher for the Palm Beach Cardinals. It's now time to take a look at the Chicago White Sox transactions and their first-round draft picks from the last 6 years. On the 5th of July, the White Sox recalled Bobby Jenks, the right-handed pitcher from AA Charlotte. In the same move, they optioned right-handed pitcher Brandon McCarthy to AAA Charlotte, as he is not expected to have any more starts with the parent club before the All-Star game. Joe Borcher, the White Sox first-round pick in 2000, is now in AAA as a result of a logjam in the Sox outfield. In his 286th career Major League at-bats, Borcher is hitting a paltry 182. He has an unacceptably high strikeout total, along with 15 homers for the Charlotte Knights this season. In 2001, the Chicago team chose Chris Honnell in the first round, currently starting for the Birmingham Barons. The big righty is 1-5 with a bulbous 6+ ERA. The 2002 draft pick was Roger Ring. His full name is Royce Roger Ring, so now he goes by Royce. He went to the New York Mets back in 2003 along with 2 other minor leaguers for Roberto Alomar. Royce made his major league debut this year as he has now pitched in 14 games. Despite a recent dip, 2003 first-round selection Brian Anderson has been the best hitter with Charlotte all year long. Gracious enough to join down on the farm for the debut, the outfielder Anderson leads the team in doubles, RBI, total bases, and walks. Josh Fields out of Stillwater, Oklahoma was the Sox 2004 pick. You heard him on Down on the Farm a couple of weeks ago. Fields is up to AA, playing alongside Honnell for the Barons. The organization has high hopes for 2005 first-rounder Lance Broadway, as they have started him off with the High A Winston-Salem Warthogs. Through 3 starts, he is 1-0 with a 2.45 mark. Come back next week to hear what your team's growing down on the farm.
Where can you go in our community to post local events on a free, interactive community calendar? Buy and sell things online within the community and keep local businesses from being lost in the sea of .coms. Buy DecaturFirst.com, the only place to go to support and communicate within our